What's up, folks? It's Bonnie Love. I'm at you with another review. This one's on Brandi and Kandi. Let me just say before I get started, I want to thank everybody for adding me. All my new subscribers, welcome. Thank you so much. I appreciate this. You guys don't know how much it means to, have you guys. I like meeting new people. I like interacting with different personalities, characteristics, and I'm definitely not the type of YouTuber that doesn't talk back or answer you back. Or the only time I wouldn't interact in comments is if there's just way too many, and it's like, but I haven't gotten to that point yet where there's like tons and tons of comments to where I just cannot answer everybody back. But if I'm able to answer people back, I will. If you're cordial, if you're being positive, if you're nice. If not, then you'll get ignored. It would be like wasting your time even trying to, comment and say something fucked up. Because if you do, I'm just going to act like you ain't there. Okay, I may have seen it. I may have seen your comment. But if it's ignorant, if you're speaking negative about something you know nothing about, or if you're just trying to be derogatory, I'm not going to answer you. So, for the most part, as long as you're cordial, you're nice. Yeah, I'm not one of those stuck up type YouTubers, you know what I mean, that just don't respond back. That's not me, okay? But I would like to say thank you to everybody that is here, and all the new people, and everybody that's already been here. Thank you so much. I appreciate everything. Really good people for the most part. I got a few assholes hanging around, but they're the ones that's usually quiet and don't say anything. Or if they do say something, it's negative. But whatever. Thanks to all the new subscribers. And moving on with this review. Okay, so this review is on Brandi and Kandi. Twins looking to lose weight together. I must say that I have never, ever seen twins so close. Those were the closest twins I've ever seen. I mean, really. And it goes beyond just when Kandi was in the hospital and almost lost her life and Brandi acted like she was about to lose her mind. It goes way beyond that. Those two were just close, period. I mean, they slept in the same bed. Like, they were close. Can you believe I actually saw comments on social media about how it was like funny type business because those two grown women were sleeping in the same bed? Hello, they're twins. I didn't see that. I did not see that at all. When I watched this episode and the first scene was of those two waking up and trying to get out of bed together, and they were sleeping in the same bed, I did not see under no circumstances any type of funny business like they had something going on with each other. For one, you'd have to be, I mean, nobody really truly knows what's going on, but with them but them. But at the same time, it's like they're twin sisters. They're inseparable. You have some twins that aren't. You have some twins that, I wouldn't say hate each other, but they just don't deal with each other or they don't get along. There are some cases like that. But for most of the time, twins are very, very close. So it was not funny for me to see the two of them, getting up together in the same, out of the same bed. That's just, people say all kinds of fuck shit on social media. It's crazy. But anyway, getting into this review, I'm going to go by the scenes. First scene, they're waking up in the same bed together. And they complain about how it's a struggle to get up out of bed. It's one of the hardest tasks throughout the day. That, and then they move over to the shower scene. Let me say something about that shower scene. The shower scenes, I never did do further research. As I said in a previous video, I was going to look further into whether or not they actually do get paid by TLC to do the shower scenes. I've heard that. I wasn't sure if that was true, because it's really something that has me curious. Do they get paid an additional $1,000 for stripping all the way down, no clothes on, in front of the cameras to do the shower scene? yes, they do blur out the images. We can't see them as viewers, but the cameraman can see every bit of their naked body. So because they are exposing themselves like that, they would have to be getting paid extra. You have a few episodes, believe it or not, on My 600-Pound Life where there are no shower scenes in the first beginning. They don't. Some of them don't do that. Some of them just do. LB Bonner, perfect example. I don't believe, and I just recently watched his episode. I don't think he took a shower on his episode. I don't believe so. I got to go back and rewatch it to make sure. But if so, that's one example of a person that maybe it was because he had a prosthetic leg. I don't know. But everybody does not do shower scenes. But it seems like it's done by most of the cast members, and I don't think Octavia did one either. There's a few cast members that didn't do shower scenes, but most of them do shower scenes, and it seems like the ones that do are trying to get that extra money. It's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to get extra money, you get extra money. But I've just always been curious about that, the shower scene part. Okay, but anyway, moving on. They talk about how they wish they could help each other shower. It is a task, but they can't because they're both big. It's hard for them to even shower themselves. So how are they going to help each other? They put powder on one another. They powder each other because they can't do it themselves. Brandi can't do it herself. Kandi can't do it herself. So they do each other because it's easier that way. Says that her sister is the only one that she can trust and the only one she wants to rely on. So yeah, that lets you know right there that those two were very, very close. They were close twins, very close. They started gaining weight in an early age. Says that both had a lonely childhood because both parents were addicted to drugs. I believe that. You know, sometimes it's questionable about what goes on with these people in their childhood. You know, sometimes it's very, very questionable. Sometimes we can't tell. Sometimes they lie. Sometimes they exaggerate. Sometimes they use, to talk about their childhood and put in things that have never happened just to get people's sympathy. I don't know. But in this case, I do believe that both their parents, were addicted to drugs. I can believe that. Because that's most likely how they ended up with a food addiction. Because parents weren't there. They had their own thing going on and they probably felt neglected. Okay. So they had each other. Father was a drug dealer. Also claims that they had a lot of strangers in and out of the home as they were growing up, didn't have anyone to protect them. They were both molested by an acquaintance of their biological father. Now that's what pissed me off. I was upset about that. It is, like I stated in other videos, it is up to whomever who they want to feel sympathy for. It is up to whomever. Sympathy is a personal choice. You cannot tell somebody how they should feel. Okay, so if you want to feel sorry for someone or not, based on their story, based on their past, fine. But in this case, I've always been a firm believer of sympathy should be based on the truth. But even though that's my belief, even if you feel sorry for somebody, even if they're telling a lie, that's on you. In this case, I believed them. I believed that they were molested. I believe that a stranger, it was probably a stranger to them, but somebody that their father knew. What pissed me off about this was the fact that their father didn't believe them. The mother believed them, and she tried to show proof to the father. No matter what proof that she showed, he refused to believe it. You know what? I can't tell somebody what to do. And people do what they want. But in my opinion, I think they should have cut his ass off. And I know that's their father. I know. But that's what I would have done if I was in a situation like that. If I had a father that did not believe me as far as the fact that I was sexually molested when the setup was like, look at how you got shit set up. You got all these different people coming in and out of the house because you selling drugs. you would think it would be more believable when he knew he had a lot of different people coming in the home around his daughters than to just say, oh, I was sexually molested, and he actually did everything he could to protect them, you know. So me personally, I would have cut his ass off. I wouldn't have dealt with him anymore, because dad or not, I wouldn't have gave a fuck. That makes it worse. You're my dad, and you don't believe that all of these crazy men that you've had coming in and out of in and out of our house at the time, you don't think it's possible that they would have touched me? Like, he would have had to go. I'm sorry. That would have been a relationship I would have severed. And some people figure, that's a little tough to say. You're gonna cut off your own father in a situation like that? Absolutely. Because sexual molestation is a permanent scar. That's something you're gonna have, in the back of your mind for the rest of your life. It's the past. It's over. It's nothing you can do about it. But that hurt and pain is always going to be there. And you mean to tell me that you couldn't even be an emotional support for me? Like, really? Like, no. That's a relationship I would have severed. Okay, so moving on. They thought things would get better because the mom and dad eventually broke up, but they didn't, because she ended up not being there as a mother. So the mother ended up, even though she split up with their father, she ended up drinking real heavy. I think that's what they said. She was drinking. She was an alcoholic, and she was always threatening to commit suicide. The grandmother said that she didn't know the girl's mother was addicted to drugs and alcohol so badly, and she didn't realize that she was that far into it. If she had known that, she would have taken them immediately. And I believe that too. I believe the grandmother would have really stepped in. She probably maybe the mother was telling her things to make her think everything was okay with the girls. And maybe the girls didn't want to tell grandma because they didn't think, grandma would believe them, or grandma would do anything about it, or who knows. But I personally believe that the grandmother would have stepped in and did something for those kids, if she had known that they were in that much trouble. So by age 12, they were 200 pounds. They always got bullied. By high school, they were 300 pounds. Constantly fighting with mother. The mother threatens to kill herself. Kandi had to physically hold her mother down and stop her from blowing her brains out. I think that's a lot for a child to have to deal with. That's a little too much for a child to have to deal with. It's a lot. Your mother's threatening to kill herself, and you physically have to go in there and stop her. That right there, I'm sure, has left a scar on her for the rest of her life. That's a memory she's never going to forget. Okay, so they called the police when mother carried on this way, and mom kicked them out. They got a job at a department store to pay rent together. So they got their own place together as twins. I think this is when they got to the point where they came together and started doing things together. When they got kicked out of the house together, they just went on ahead and got a place together. And I think they probably were living together ever since. Okay, so next scene, they go to the grocery store, scared to go in front of people because they're afraid of how people will look at them. That's everybody on the show. I don't think there's a cast member that has been on this show that did not really want to just go out in the public like that, because they are scared of what people are going to say. That they just didn't want their feelings hurt. There was an embarrassment they didn't want to have to deal with. Kandi says some days, they could take it. Other days they can't. Anxiety overwhelmed, so they just leave the store. They were sitting in the parking lot. They were about to go in the grocery store, but they didn't. They just left the grocery store and went to McDonald's drive-thru and ordered a bunch of food. Talks about how the public makes fun of them and makes rude comments. Next scene, the twins' mother visits them and admits that she caused most of the issue. Well, yeah. If you're talking about killing yourself, which you needed help, you needed to go see somebody if you felt that way, and your minor child had to hold you down and stop you from pulling that trigger, then yeah, you caused a lot of problems with those girls. I think so, yeah. They're not going to ever forget that. That's something that will never go out of their mind until the day that they're dead and gone. They always going to remember they had to go through that with you. So yes, but it's a good thing that the mother admitted, that she was a problem. At least she admitted it. So the next scene, grandmother comes to visit Vancouver, Washington. She offers to help them get to Houston and even offers some financial help. So the grandmother basically explains that, it's not natural for grandmothers to bury their granddaughters. You two need help, and you need it now. So let me help you. Let me help you get to Houston. I'm going to be as much of a support as I can be. Okay. So the next scene, they pack up with grandma, hit the road, go to Houston. On the road for a few days, Brandi does the driving. While on the road, they ordered 4 smoked ham sliders. I always pay close attention to what they order because they orders a lot of the time. That shit be ridiculous. That shit be ridiculous. But what do you expect? I mean, that's how they eat. They would have never got up to 500 and 600 pounds if they didn't eat like that. 4 smoked ham sliders, a large order of mozzarella sticks, and 3 potato cakes. Actually, this order really wasn't that bad. Now remember, Nicole had a double cheeseburger when she was on the road on the way to Houston. She had a double cheeseburger, a large order of fries, a large Coke, and a foot-long sub from Subway. Aren't you already full from the burger and fries and large Coke that you had? You got to have a foot-long sub too. So I say all that to say, nobody was worse than Nicole. She ate more than anybody, I think, on that damn show. Well, or on the way to Houston. Or maybe not. It might be somebody, I think there's another cast member that ate just as much. But that's ridiculous. I always pay attention to what they order because that shit be off the chain. It be off the chain. I'd be like, really? For real? For real? Like you got to order all this food? Like, but when you big like that, you can't really, you don't feel full. You don't feel full. So you eat until you feel full and content. I don't know. Whatever. Next scene arrives in Houston. Brandi weighs in at 587. Kandi weighs in at 604. Dr. Now says, being that they are twins that operate the same way, they are too dependent on one another. It's going to be extremely difficult to break that. I do agree. Yeah, those are the closest twins I've ever seen. I've never seen twins closer than those two. I mean, they even sleeping in the same bed. It's like, God damn, yo. God damn, you know? Okay, so he gives them a goal of 50 pounds over the next month. So the next scene, they're moving into an apartment in Houston. Grandmother had to go back home. They claim they are scared to do this without their grandmother. Why? You two have each other. You two have had each other for years. Why are you scared to do this without grandma? You know, grandma's helping, and yeah, grandma's a support, and I can understand that, but you two have each other. It's not like, Kandi, you're down here alone, or Brandi, you're down here alone. You're down there together, so you can work this shit out together. Okay. So 1 week later, they went out and walked the dog in the back parking lot so nobody would see them. They still had this anxiety issue. They didn't want to go around the public. They figured, okay, well, the public is going to talk about my weight, so I'm just going to stay back here in the backyard. And the dog's got to be walked, so we'll just do it back here. Well, in the back parking lot, rather. In the back parking lot. They were still too embarrassed and ashamed to go out in front of people as big as they were. Okay, so next scene, Kandi weigh-in. Kandi weighs in at 536, 68 pounds down, which was very good. Brandi weighs in at 517, which was 70 pounds down. Excellent. They both get approved for surgery. Dr. Now says that Kandi's heart may not be strong enough to perform the procedure, so he needs to run more tests. 4 days later, goes to drive-thru and orders 2 large number 2s, so they're eating bad again. Kandi, okay, I'm going to tell you how I feel about that. Kandi felt some type of way because her test results were not good. Dr. Nell said that, her heart, he saw some stuff wrong with her heart. So she got worried. Brandi actually did okay. Brandi lost the weight and, well, they both lost weight. They both did good with losing weight, but Brandi didn't have any extra issues like Kandi. Kandi's heart was not strong, but Brandi's was. So I understand. I'm not going to say I understand. I'll just say I see why they went to, because I don't understand it, but I see why they went to a drive-thru and ordered 2 large number 2s. Well, it would make sense for Kandi to have ordered that bad food. Well, it doesn't make sense, but she would have one got the bad news. Okay? It was her heart that was bad. Brandi was actually in the clear. So why did the both of you go to McDonald's and order this food? Well, of course, y'all twins, y'all do everything together, but you were influencing her negatively. Her test results were cool. Yours weren't. So because your test results were bad, the both of you had to go back to McDonald's and eat bad after y'all just lost all that weight. I didn't think that was right. Yet not only do they influence each other positively, but they influence each other negatively. You know, if one does good, the other one does good. If one does bad, the other one does bad. So that was really bad. That was bad. I didn't really like that part. I didn't think that was cool. Okay, so they go in a week later for a weigh-in, and they both lost 4 pounds each. Dr. Now asks, why didn't you make more progress than just 4 pounds? They both say they added carbs. Dr. Now gets on their case and says, you know, carbs is not part of your diet. You cannot afford to go backwards. Kandi's EKG was normal. Brandi's EKG was normal. Kandi's EKG was abnormal. Heart is not pumping right. Dr. Now cancels the surgery because they retracted. They went backwards and started eating bullshit again. Okay. So he said, because of your lack of progress, within this last week, I have to cancel the surgery. Gives them a goal of 30 pounds for the next month. Kandi is scared because her test results makes her think she's probably going to die before her sister. I can understand being scared, but going backwards and eating bullshit is not going to help either. It's just, she was running to food for comfort. By month 3, weighing in, Kandi, 500 pounds, 32 pounds down. Brandi was 481, 32 pounds down. So they both lost the same amount of weight. Yeah, they are definitely in sync. Approves Brandi for surgery. Kandi must wait for her heart to get healthier. 2 weeks later, Brandi is in the hospital getting ready for surgery. Surgery goes well. Next scene, Brandi is 449 pounds down. No, she's 449 pounds. 32 pounds down since surgery. A total weight loss of 139 pounds. Next weigh-in, Kandi is 464 pounds. She's 36 pounds down. Total weight loss 140 pounds. But this time she's at the clinic alone. Her heart looks better based on tests, and the doctor approves her for surgery because her heart got healthier because she went back to eating properly. Okay. So, next scene, Kandi goes in for surgery. Grandmother couldn't be there, but the mom is there. Brandi and mom are waiting in the waiting area. Brandi is crying and very upset and nervous, worrying about her sister. Dr. Now performs gastric sleeve and says surgery went well. So that's good. She made it through. She made it through the surgery. 2 days later, Code Blue. This was the infamous part of the episode when Kandi ended up in ICU. Code Blue. Kandi was rushed to ICU. Sherry, which is her mom, calls the grandmother to inform her. Kandi's heart stopped. Blood pressure was dropping. To prevent organ failure and brain damage, Dr. Now put her in a medically induced coma. He believed that she formed a blood clot. She stopped breathing when she tried to get up, and walk, and it dislodged and caused pulmonary embolism. I've talked about that several times in several different videos. That's nothing to play with. When you get that, you pretty much you are this close. You are this close to death, literally. Because if something is not done immediately, that clot can travel up to your lungs. And if that blood clot is on your lung, you're going to die instantly. It's just, if it's a serious enough blood clot, I've heard of people having blood clots on their lungs, but they were very, very small. They were teeny ones. And even though those are dangerous too, but still, if you as big as these two girls were with pulmonary embolism, and you trying to move around and circulate after not circulating the blood after not being active and moving around for a couple of days, that can cause a problem. You would think that actually getting up to walk and be more active, after you haven't for a couple of days will solve the problem, but it does not. If you've been sitting still or laying in your bed for a long period of time and you have not had hardly any activity, trying to get up is going to make it worse. you got to be careful with that stuff. And that's why he put her in a coma, because she almost died. I think she was sitting still too long. She was sitting still too long, and it just, I don't know. It took a turn for the worse. Okay, so Brandi is crying profusely. Dr. Now kept her in a coma for a few days. Brandi walks over and talks to her mom while she's in a coma. The mother is crying. Brandi says, if she dies, I know I will die. I believe that. Those two were like this. I mean, they were the closest. I feel like if one was gone, the other one was definitely going to be gone. Or if the other one didn't die, then they would be alive still, but they would just be existing. They wouldn't be living. If Kandi died, Brandi would have, if she still was alive, she would have just been a zombie. She wouldn't have been living and enjoying life. She would have just been walking around sad and depressed all the time because she lost her sister. You know? So yeah, I believe that. Those two were extremely close, to the point where if one passed away, it would definitely affect the other. Yeah. The grandmother and stepbrother eventually show up for support. 5 days later, Dr. Now wakes her up from her coma, says she actually looks good and has recovered well. Kandi says she doesn't remember how she got there. Brandi says, you scared the shit out of me. She said, don't you ever do that shit again. Don't ever do that again. Basically, what she's saying is just let's stay healthy. Let's be healthy and stay healthy together, so we won't ever have to go through a scare like this ever again. Because the weight played a significant role as to why she ended up in that situation in the first place. You know, if they just stay small, they stay healthy so that they can stay smaller, you know, then hopefully nothing like that will happen again. Let's see. Okay, so next scene, Kandi is sitting up ready to be discharged. Dr. Now takes vital signs, says she looks good enough to go home. Kandi weighs in at 461 with a total loss of 143. Brandi, 432 with a total loss of 155. Month 9, Brandi's weight is 410, total loss of 178. Kandi's weight is 443, total loss of 162. And the next scene is when they pretty much talked about the issues that they were having with their mother. Mother was around more because they were having surgery. So the mother was over to see them, to give them emotional support because of the surgeries and everything like that. So she was there for them, but they spoke of how her being around so much would bring up old memories and old feelings of things that they thought they had gotten over, but they had not. So we pretty much end this scene, this episode. The next scene was they went to therapy with their mom. They pretty much talked through their issues. They got through it, and things just seemed to be getting a little bit better for their relationship with their mother. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. So they weren't going to be able to resolve everything right then and there. But going to therapy with mom and talking through these issues to work through them, I'm sure it was hard for the twins to tell their mother exactly how they felt about her as adults. But I'm just glad they were able to work through it. I'm glad they're doing better now. I'm glad that Kandi and Brandi have lost a lot of weight. I cannot remember exactly which twin had a baby. They may have both had a baby. Let's see. I'm about to Google it right now while I'm talking to y'all. You know what? Majority of my 600-pound life videos or reviews are, you know, I act pretty silly. I laugh and giggle and joke and all that. I really couldn't see myself doing that this time. I don't really, let's see. So it looks like Kandi is the one that had the... Oh, they both did. Or did they? Or I don't know. Okay. Brandi Dreyer. Yes. The Washington native was pregnant with her first child. Okay, so Brandi had a baby. What's up with Kandi? Did she have a baby too? I know one of them did. I just couldn't remember which one. Let's see here. I don't know. I don't know about Kandi, but I know Brandi was the one that had the baby. Brandi had a baby. It looks like she's in a relationship now. It looks like she's very happy. Yeah, she lost a lot of weight. Look at that. Can you see? Can you see? Look at that. She got a new baby. Got a boo. Can you see? Can you see? Can you see? I've never done that before in any of my videos. But, yeah, she looks like she's happy. As far as Kandi, I can't really tell what's going on with her today. I know they both lost a lot of weight. So, no, it doesn't look like she has a child. She's just happy to be an auntie. She's happy to be an auntie. But she did lose a lot of weight. She looks good. They both look really, really good. All right, you guys, that's my time. Follow me on all social media platforms. You know the drill. The ending of this, if you watch my videos, the ending of this video will have just where you can find me on the net. As far as other social media platforms. Peace and blessings. Take care.